The purpose of this podcast is to educate and inform. It is no substitute for professional care by your doctor or your qualified healthcare professional. Never disregard or delay professional medical advice because of something you've heard on this podcast or in any linked material. Guests who speak on this podcast express their own opinions, experience, and conclusions. Dr. Shirley neither endorses nor opposes any particular opinion discussed on this podcast. The views expressed on this podcast have no relation to those of any academic, hospital, practice, institution, or other entity with which Dr. Shirley may be affiliated.
Welcome to Forever Fab, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty. This podcast is curated by Dr. Shirley Madhere, MD, as the definitive source of holistic wellness through beauty.
This week's episode of 15 Minutes of Fab on the Forever Fab podcast is dedicated to restful sleep. The title of this week's episode is Sound Sleep, a Function of Nutrition. As a child, I used to have nightmares of being abandoned by my mother or of being late for school, both of which traumatized me. I tried to discover what these unpleasant dreams tried to tell me, and I always thought that they were related to whatever stress I was experiencing at the time. A recent study suggests that nightmares may be related to what we eat. This episode briefly reviews this study and offers suggestions for a good night and sweet dreams. So, as a child, as I mentioned, I used to have nightmares. Early on, they were of being abandoned by my mother. As I grew older and acquired more life responsibilities, if you will, I had repeated dreams about being late for class, clearly reflecting my performance anxiety while in residency training or during my internship. For many years, though, nightmares no longer kept me up. I didn't have them. I don't know if it was just a period of oblivion or I don't know what. I had a period of several years where my dreams were vivid, but not nightmarish. Then they returned, probably about 10 years ago. I've tried to discover what these unpleasant dreams tried to tell me. I always thought that they were related to whatever stress I was experiencing at the time. In general, the exact cause is unknown. Science doesn't really know what causes nightmares specifically. Science pontificates that nightmares may be associated with stress, anxiety, sleep disorders, medications, lifestyle choices, and other factors. They may also be in response to either internal or external influences or both. But a new light has been shed on the nocturnal disturbances. Rather than look at what specifically causes nightmares, what happens in the brain and the body. Recently, a study appearing in Frontiers in Psychology suggests that food sensitivity and diet may have correlations to sleep and dreaming. Do specific foods affect how well we sleep? Now, it's well known that overeating and overindulging, especially in alcohol, can contribute to poor and inadequate sleep. We all know that. It's also been anecdotally reported throughout the years that eating some foods late at night can disrupt sleep patterns. Eating late at night can disrupt sleep patterns, no matter what you eat. Yet this supposition has not been widely scientifically studied. So, in this study, as was published in Frontiers in Psychology, the researchers surveyed over 1,000 participants about their perceptions of food and sleep quality. Over 40% responded that certain foods indeed either improved or worsened their sleep. After evaluating robust survey results, the scientists concluded a number of things, including proportionally, women had more nightmares than men. Many survey participants reported that their sleep was adversely affected by specific foods. Eating late at night affected dreaming. And food-dependent negative dream and sleep changes most commonly included, but certainly were not limited to, desserts and sweets, dairy, meat, and grains. The food-dependent positive dream and sleep changes most commonly included, but were not limited to, fruits, vegetables, and herbal teas. Well, what does this mean for you and for me? For peaceful, restful sleep that sets up conditions conducive to happy and sweet dreams, create and practice a mindful bedtime routine that is calming, consistent, and includes these practices. Now, some of these practices we've discussed on the Forever Fab podcast. So some of them are from the Forever Fab archive of best practices to live a beautiful and fabulous life. And some others I scoured the web and I picked up across the web. So here are some of these tips for better sleep and sweet dreams. Follow your chronotype to set a consistent bedtime and aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. My chronotype states that it's best for me to get to bed by 11 p.m. so I could wake up between 6 and 7 a.m. Keep your bedroom cool, ideally between 60 degrees Fahrenheit and 67 degrees Fahrenheit, or 15 Celsius and 19 Celsius, to promote sleep. That's a hard one for me because I like to keep the temperature between 68 and 70. I'll keep working on it. Avoid blue light 2 hours before bed. This includes phones, laptops, and other such devices, as blue light suppresses melatonin. And the suppression of melatonin doesn't help you sleep any better. Minimize light exposure by using blackout curtains or an eye mask. That is particularly significant for me. Reduce noise with earplugs, a white noise machine, a fan, double pane windows if you live in a bustling city, or sleeping in a totally quiet room or environment, which I know is hard to find these days. Ensure that your mattress, sheets, and pillows are comfortable and supportive. If you get hot at night, regardless of the room temperature, use cooling sheets. I believe Periclear tend to be more cooling than others. Set the intention to reserve the bed for sleep and intimacy. Not solving problems, not working on your laptop, and definitely not eating or smoking. Start your routine 6 to 90 minutes before bedtime. This gives your body and mind time to transition from being awake to preparing for sleep. Engage in relaxing activities such as listening to calming music or podcasts such as the Forever Fab podcast. Read a book, journal, take a warm bath or shower, practice meditation or do deep breathing exercises, or perhaps do a little gentle stretch or yoga. Dim the lights. Avoid stimulating activities, so limit screen time, especially to violence. Avoid heavy meals, caffeine, and alcohol. Instead, consider herbal teas known for their calming effects, such as chamomile or lavender. And consider using your olfactory senses to help you sleep. Try aromatherapy. Diffusing calming scents from essential oils such as lavender or chamomile may actually help relaxation. There are even technologies and other innovations that may help promote restful sleep by tracking sleep, examining sleep patterns, or providing guided meditation. Now, these include wearable trackers, meditation apps, smart beds, and mattress toppers that adjust temperature. How cool is that? And specific sound wave frequencies. Those, particularly in the lower frequency ranges, can be helpful for promoting restful sleep. Also, in addition to white noise, there's pink noise and brown noise. And there are also binaural beats in the delta range, so between 0.5 and 4 hertz. And that's soothing sounds of nature. Also, soothing sounds of nature, such as ocean waves, have also been shown to be beneficial for helping to promote restful sleep. If you have trouble sleeping despite a mindful, calming pre-bedtime routine, including some of these tips that I just mentioned, consult your doctor and discuss these possible sleep aids that should be used with caution and consultation. These include melatonin supplements, magnesium supplements, L-theanine supplements, and herbal teas. Again, please note, always consult with a healthcare professional before starting any new supplement or tea or tincture, pill, powder, liquid, whatever, and especially if you are pregnant, nursing, or have existing medical conditions. This concludes this episode of 15 Minutes of Fab on the Forever Fab podcast. Thank you for listening, and until next time, stay beautiful and forever fabulous inside and out.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Forever Fab, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty, curated by Dr. Shirley Madhere, MD. Live beautifully and help make the world a more beautiful place.